Hello there, I am Justin, and this is the first installment of what should hopefully be a long-running series, tentatively called Watching Block. And basically the idea is to be a sort of break from the reviews, a way to switch it up. Whereas a review is a thorough rundown of a single series, Watching Block, what I'm intending, is a summary of a bunch of series that I'm currently keeping up with. So basically, Watching Block's going to be a rundown of what I'm watching, how far I've gotten in each of the shows, and then my impressions about how I like the show so far, and basically collect them all into a single periodic installment of this series from time to time. Because I'm trying to keep relatively current with what shows are out, a lot of what I will list here is going to be stuff from either the current season or the season before, mixing it with some other old stuff that I want to get through as well. But anyway, enough explaining, let's jump right in, because I've got 10 that I want to talk about. Okay, first up, Brynhildr in the Darkness. Episodes I've seen so far, 3. Alright, the story behind this one is that first seeing the screenshots and the premise of it, I was intending to just skip it. It didn't seem that interesting, until at least I saw a particular fact that made me change my tune, which is that this is from the same writer as Elfen Lied. At that point, I just couldn't ignore it, so I watched it out of interest of that, and, it definitely shows that it's from the same dude that wrote Elfen Lied, for both good and ill. The ill being that it is really all over the place as far as tone and quality, but also the good as well, which is that the main premise of it, which is a bunch of experiments that have escaped from where they're being held captive, which the main guy then runs into. That aspect is really, really well done. It's got me pretty damn hooked so far, and as long as the show plays to it in some manner, that's where it really shines. For example, the third episode, it did that almost exclusively, and it's easily the best one so far. If they stay down that route, this could be a genuinely, really good show. But I'm also not entirely sure if it's going to actually do that all the time, rather than, play up some school comedy or harem bullshit, and that has me a bit worried for it, so I guess we'll see, but I don't know. I hope that they do a lot with the main premise, though. Next up, Baby Steps. Episodes seen so far, 7. Right, this is one of the shows that Sandra, my girlfriend, has been keeping up with throughout the spring season, and she recommended it to me as well. So I started watching it, and she made a good recommendation, because I really like this one so far. It helps, for one, that tennis is one of my more favorite sports to both play and watch, and some of the other aspects narratively are really good as well. For example, the main guy, he is sort of the conventional, has clear talent, but has a long ways to go to improve. There is that, but they handle it in a very interesting way, which is that they show that the main guy has excellent analytical skills, but that it's sort of his street smarts and his physical fitness that really need work. So, I thought that was a cool way of going about it. And kind of playing off of that whole analytical skills thing, the show so far, from what I've seen at least, has really sort of been playing up this whole in theory versus in practice sort of motif, and I think that's a really interesting topic to explore. So it's a sports anime that's also kind of sort of intellectual in a way, and I can really kind of respect and appreciate that. Definitely want to see some more. It's really good so far. Captain Earth. Episodes seen so far, 3. Okay, let's just start off with its best aspect, bar none, which is that Captain Earth looks absolutely gorgeous, especially on Earth. It's taught me that I am obviously a sucker for environmental effects and animation, because the stuff that they do with water just drops my jaw to the floor each time. And actually, the first episode, for about its first half, looked really incredible. it was sort of being set up as this character-based coming-of-age science fiction story, complete with some really nice interactions between Teppei and Daisuke, two of the main characters. But then, after all of that, we get to the mecha, and then after that, this introduction to some nefarious corporation trying to do a coup d'etat. And honestly, both of those aspects are about 1,000 times less interesting than what they were doing in that first half of the first episode. And even when it comes to the mecha, I don't think it's very good, honestly. The mecha don't look nearly as good as what they pull off on Earth. And the fights themselves are honestly kind of lame. It also does not help in any of those regards that it's held in space where you don't have any sort of place for those cool environmental effects, so it kind of looks pretty meh. So, yeah, my hopes were kind of deflated at that point. Not to say that it's a bad show, though. It's not at all. It's just that with the three aspects they're playing up being this whole corporate tomfoolery, the mecha, and this whole character-based stuff, only the character-based stuff legitimately interests me. So basically, because of that and the incredible visuals, I'll still watch, but I just really hope as it goes on that they don't derail the characters all that much, because otherwise, I don't know how much I'm gonna really like the show after that. But, I'll keep up with it still. Mekakucity Actors, episode seen so far, 2. Alright, first let's start with the art direction. It's pretty good. I mean, there are, of course, going to be the Akiyuki Shimbo-isms, like, impossible head tilts, or some close-up shots that, like, just look really similar to the main guy from Bakemonogatari. But outside of that, I think it's pretty good and respectable. I mean, I like the color scheme, like the bright colors and its minimalist bent, and there are also some other art direction choices, like, for example, going into flashbacks and representing certain characters as inanimate objects for the sake of metaphor. Things like that I can definitely get behind. So, like, it looks pretty cool, looks pretty appealing. As for the show itself as a whole, I'm really not sure at all. I mean, the first episode was actually really good and got me really interested. I mean, it introduces this sort of near-future urban setting, and also introduces some other elements that are like really intriguing and interesting and just pull you in. But then that's followed by a second episode, which is kinda sorta really boring. And if hearsay is to be believed, the show as it goes on just does not make any more sense later on than it does now, and you know what, that's not really a good sign, so I'm not really sure how it's gonna end up. I mean, I'll go further and see if it gets any better, but hopefully it's more first episode than second episode, basically. Time of Eve. Episode seen so far, 3. Okay, honestly, it's been a really long time since I've actually seen this. I'm fully intending to finish it. What I remember of it, though, I remember it being sort of like really compelling and interesting, and also like with a really, really nice atmosphere to go along with it. And you know what? It's the kind of thing that gently makes you ask, like, what is human? Like, what is humanity? And like being able to do that deserves a lot of kudos. It's like basically sort of a nice little version of the Turing test in anime form. Like, as a computer scientist, that kind of stuff is kind of catnip in a way. So yeah, there's like 3 more to go. They're each like 15 minutes long. I have no excuse to not finish this. I just have to actually get around to it. But looking forward to like basically watching the entire thing over again. It's going to have to be at this point. Next up, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Episode seen so far, 3. I'm not into Stardust Crusaders. I'm still in the first series, so to speak. Okay, I have a confession. I did not understand at all the alleged appeal of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, but then I started recently watching it, along with Sandra so far, and you know what, I think I understand fully now. I mean, the first 2 episodes, that's a way to introduce a series. They're some of the most incredible first 2 episodes ever. Incredible pacing. It's like really hilarious because it's sort of playing up the general shonen aesthetic and the quality of gentle manliness to such absurd extremes that the overall result is that it is awesome because it's hilarious, and then hilarious also because it's awesome. I mean, it's sort of like a cycle of just like pure entertainment. So yeah, that just got us super hooked. I'm kind of sad though that the third episode starts to slow things down majorly, but it was still like pretty entertaining, and I'm still definitely looking forward to seeing more. Just because it's nice to have a shot of just pure entertainment and hilarity every once in a while. So yeah, it's pretty good. Space Brothers, episode seen so far 6. Oh my god, I have so much catching up to do on this. So far behind. But, you know what, from what little I've seen so far, I've been really enjoying it. I mean, I like the origin story, how they set that all up. It's a sort of like a spiritual and extraterrestrial, but in a way that's really heartfelt, where it could have been handled in a very laughable manner instead. And I also kind of find it amusing how the story basically revolves around the older brother catching up to the younger brother. But even where that's concerned, it's not done with any sort of major bitterness or malice on our main character, Muta's part, and that's really cool to see as well. And plus, it has to be said, like the fact that they're basing this all around this sort of speculative future space missions kind of stuff, like this is supposed to be stuff that should be theoretically possible, like in the near future. Like that's really cool to see as well, and you also kind of get to learn a lot about how stuff like NASA and all works. So yeah, it's really cool. It'll be interesting to see though if they can maintain this same charm over a fucking 100 episodes. But if they're able to do it, then that'd be pretty awesome. But we'll see. Oh, by the way, the first opening, Feel Some Moon, incredible. I'm going to be really sad once they switch that to something else. Yowamushi Pedal. Episodes seen so far. Okay, this is going to be interesting, be weird. I've skipped several, so it's been sporadic ones up to episode 29. Okay, I'll just start off by commending it for one very particular trick that it pulls off excellently, which is that there are a lot of episodes where like very little actually happens as far as plot or progression, whatever like race they're doing, but they're able to do that while still making it really exciting and entertaining. Like the fact that they can do that, where many other sort of shonen shows I feel majorly fail in that aspect, that they can do that really good. Also, Onoda, the main character, freaking brilliant. An otaku who's sort of presented in a really adorable manner. It's like a really good sort of character to have go through the journey of discovering his potential for biking and realize his love for it. And one of the things that Yowamushi Pedal like does really well is that it's able to really get across, I think, what it feels like to be in the spirit of competition. And this is particularly true of the most recent one that I saw, episode 29. Like, the first half of it is, like, how do I explain it? It's like the freaking, some of the most, like, joyful, like, triumphantly hot-blooded, also gayest, like, bunch of 15 minutes ever. Just basically all about, like, two competitors, like, sort of expressing their admiration for each other and how much they really want to, like, go their farthest and beat them. And you know what? I don't know of many other shows that can possibly make you feel that. I felt fucking pumped and, like, really happy just after that. That might just be, like, the best moments in anime for this year. At least so far. It'll be hard to top that. And, like, the more that Yowamushi Pedal can, like, pull that stuff off, like, the better it's going to be. It's definitely deserved to have its sort of second season, so, like, good job to it. It's been really good so far. Nichijou. Episode seen so far, 23. Okay, I'm going to start off by just calling out some people. Apparently, Japan must have pretty shit taste, because I cannot believe that this is the one Kyoto animation series that has, like, actually disappointed as far as how it did. I'm pretty sure this is, like, their best thing that they've made so far. Obviously, a real labor of love as well. It's like, I don't know. I mean, at first it introduced, like, inevitable comparisons to Azumanga Daioh for me. Azumanga Daioh, by the way, being, like, one of my favorite series ever. But like as I got through more of it, it became obvious that they're two very different beasts. They should be appreciated for different things. And what Nichijou does, it does really well. It's a good argument in favor of having a huge budget and blowing it on such like a small show, basically. Like, this is some of the most ridiculous slice of life ever, and the fact that it revels in it and does it so well makes it endlessly hilarious and entertaining. And I actually have to finish this. Only a couple episodes to go, and I've been loving it so far. Oh, and one last little note, if I did not know any better, and if I was also like 15 years old, I'd have probably had a crush on Nano. Just put it out there. And finally, Tonari no Seki-kun. Episode seen so far, 21. Hang on. 21. That means I've watched it all. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna hold my tongue. I think I'll save this for a review. A full-on review one day. Okay, and that about does it. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and until next time, Justin here is signing off.